We're on special assignment tonight looking into what some are calling an assault on open government. If you're in a car accident, you might have a hard time finding out who else was involved in that crash. That's because dozens of police departments in the state are no longer releasing that information to the public. Why? They're worried about getting sued. Here's Robert Hornacek.
If you want to know who was involved in something as minor as a traffic accident or as high profile as a fight involving two off-duty Minneapolis police officers, don't expect to find the answer in the police reports released by the Green Bay Police Department. The department's official policy is to redact all personal information from any reports made public. Green Bay Police are not alone. The Brown County Sheriff's Department and Appleton Police are redacting reports too. The Wisconsin Newspaper Association found more than 60 departments in the state heavily redacting information like names, addresses, and dates of birth, information that has typically been available under the Wisconsin Open Records Law.
This is one of the most serious threats to open government that we have ever seen.
Bill Loiters is the president of the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council.
This is a whole category of records that used to be available and now no longer is.
So why are so many agencies redacting so much information? Well, it basically boils down to a parking ticket and a lawsuit.
Back in 2010, Jason Sen received a parking ticket in Palatine, Illinois. The outside of the ticket listed all of his personal information, including his full name, address, driver's license number, date of birth, height, and weight. Sen sued the village under the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, a law passed by Congress in 1994. The law was designed to prevent states from selling personal information found in DMV records. Sen lost but appealed. And in August of 2012, the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals overturned the lower court and sided with Sen, ruling that the village did in fact violate federal law by placing a parking ticket with personal information on Sen's windshield. As a result of that ruling, police agencies across Wisconsin are now redacting personal information from accident reports released to the public.
Well, this affects everyone. If you're involved in a traffic accident, you may find that it is harder to get basic information about that accident because of the way that authorities are interpreting this law.
Green Bay City Attorney Tony Walkowitz says cities are choosing to black out the information because they're afraid of getting sued.
Is the fear of a lawsuit over this legitimate, you think?
I do, yes.
Walkowitz says the new policy has doubled the workload for employees in the police department's records division. And while the city has never been sued for releasing DMV records, Walkowitz says it's better to be safe than get sued.
Do you see where people look at this and say, wow, that's redacting a heck of a lot of information?
I certainly understand that concern. I do. And that's, I think, what has made this such a difficult challenge and is kind of a change historically from the way that things have occurred. But at the same point, the law is what the law is at this point, and that's what we have to follow.
Transparency and openness are the key to democracy.
Michelle Vetterkind is president of the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. She says it's troubling to see the media and the general public denied basic information.
There is definitely a concern that this number of municipalities where the redactions are happening is rapidly growing.
Open government advocates say one reason so many police agencies are jumping on the redaction bandwagon is because of an article from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. In the article, the League cautions police to evaluate all the ways in which they use information obtained from DMV records in order to avoid violating the DPPA.
We're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Kurt Watinsky is the assistant director of the League.
We're frustrated because we don't know exactly how conservatively to interpret the court's decision in the Palatine case, but we're erring on the side of caution.
Not all agencies are following suit.
The Oconto Police Department actually did heavily redact its police reports about 6 months ago, but that only lasted for about 2 weeks. And the chief decided to go back to the way they used to do it.
Why are we making this difficult? This isn't rocket science.
Dan Alt is the Oconto police chief. While his department does redact things like birth dates and driver's license numbers, basic information is being released to the public.
Are you concerned that the city of Oconto could get sued over this?
We're not doing anything wrong. There's no concern in regard to it. You can always be sued. I don't think there's any liability issue. We're following state statute. We're redacting information. We're not divulging information we've obtained from the computer system. So there's nothing that I'm even remotely concerned about in regards to this.
In fact, unredacted accident reports are available from the State Department of Transportation, but people have to pay for the reports, and it can take weeks to get them. Don't expect cities like Green Bay to change their policies.
What do you say to people who think that this is way over the top and that these records ought to be publicly available?
I think that it should be taken up and changed legislatively to provide a clear answer.
Most observers agree the matter will most likely be resolved in court. A case involving the New Richmond News in western Wisconsin is making its way through the federal court system. The newspaper is challenging the city's practice of heavily redacting information in police reports. Reuters expects Wisconsin's history of open government to prevail.
We're very confident that the courts will ultimately rule that the way that this law is being applied in Wisconsin is not appropriate.
In an opinion issued 5 years ago, Wisconsin Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen ruled that police do not violate federal law when they release personal information that's found in accident reports. Attorneys on both sides have asked Van Hollen to weigh in on the matter again, but a spokesperson for the Attorney General says he will not get involved because of the ongoing federal lawsuit. For Fox 11 on special assignment, I'm Robert Hornacek.
And if you have a story that you would like our On Special Assignment team to look into, email them. That address is osa@wluk.com.